I want to know where the gold at.
Show me the gold. Give me
the
gold.
The gold is at the top of JP's jacket.
That's right.
Yeah.
Of a
Anybody want
jacket.
the gold? Say yeah.
Oh man, I was worried that this episode was going to start on a somber note. I'm glad that there's a lot of energy,
put it in
and
the notes.
enthusiasm, and smiles. That isn't the start. That's after the beer segment, you butthead. And I will ask for that sound specifically. Hey, JP.
You know what? It's season 3, episode 1.
Oh, is it season 4, episode 1?
Oh yeah, it's season 4, episode 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Season
Damn.
4. Did you miss us, Beaver fam? We've been gone for like 6 days, 4 days. I don't know, but it's not like Lost back in the day where it's like, hey, did you guys enjoy that huge cliffhanger? Well, in 9 years, you'll see what happens.
And it's nothing.
And it's nothing. There's just a new smoke monster with new theories and problems.
And guess what? We'll never tell you what happened.
The only similarity is we've probably all been in purgatory the whole time, but god damn it, we're in purgatory the whole time together with the Beaver fam. We are recording episode 123 of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast on Tuesday night, January 2nd, 2024.
Oh,
yeah.
And I'm going to be miswriting the date on everything I need a date for the first
April 10th, probably.
Yeah.
Do you remember that in school would be like, all right, spelling bee time. It was always like the first day back from winter break. And you just write January 4th, 2023. I don't know why I'm in 4th grade in 2023, but just go with it. It's one of the phrases from the last year / season / 365 days of Belligerent Beavs podcasting was, it's 2023. No more. That's done.
It's
Put
done.
to bed. Played out. Over. It's 2024. It's 2024. It's 24.
It's
Kobe year.
2044.
Ken Griffey year.
I was going to say the year of the Griff.
Year of the
Willie
Griff.
Mays. You
Willie
guys.
Mays year.
And him.
Robert Griffith, the safety on the 1998 Vikings year. He was,
but not Robert Griffin III.
Robert Griffith.
Yeah.
Not Griffin. But definitely not Robert Griffin the third. Happy New Year, for fuck's sake. Someone
Happy New Year.
Happy
New Year. You guys, did you guys have a good New Year's? JP, I saw you post. You had a hella cute whole family post.
Yeah, you did.
Thanks. Your beautiful wife, your 3 darling kids. Happy New Year. I didn't see it until New Year's morning, and I was like, did they stay up until midnight? And then I saw on the TV in the background, it said like 6:20 p.m. in Times Square. And I was like, that's responsible parenting by our guy JP Bertram. How was family New Year's for you guys?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. We just kept it really chill this year. Stayed home, and the younger 2, obviously the baby, of course, did not stay up until midnight. But
I heard the baby was fucked up.
Probably. But I was. And but the mini bebe stayed up. He made it all the way to midnight.
Everett made it to midnight. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that his first year?
No, he did last year too. He was adamant last year, but we were like out with friends at a cabin, so it's kind of like, well, you're gonna hear us awake anyways, so you're gonna just be like laying in bed with your eyes open. Might as well hang out. But
oh man, that was the worst as a kid.
I know. I remember that feeling, right? When your parents like have friends over and you're like, why am I in bed? They're all awake right now.
Why do my parents have friends? They're not cool. My parents are lame. Kidding. I love you, Mom and Dad. That was a definitely interesting perspective for sure.
Yeah.
Did you guys have some champagne, pop some bubbly?
We did. Yep. Pop some champagne, and the kids had some Martinellis. I made a last minute run. I looked at Annie at like, I don't know, 2:00 on New Year's Eve, and I was like, do we have any New Year's like party supplies? She was like, no. I'm like, all right, I'm going.
Do we do that? Are we one of those families that has that?
But you know, like a hat. You know, like you gotta have something that's just like Happy New Year. Like you can't just
the little whistles.
Yeah. Oh God, no, I don't. Those are the worst with kids. They're the worst. Like,
wait, no, it looked like Everett had one. Did he not have one? Or did he
did.
Have like a blower.
Yeah, it was like a, like a weird sound.
It's like a mini vuvuzela.
It is like a mini vuvuzela, and
he was just providing the background noise when I wanted to announce very exciting news on the Belligerent Beavs podcast. He's getting ready. Producer in waiting.
Yeah,
7-year-old.
Yeah, I might as well hand it off to him anyways and get him trained up. But we had to take those away because both him and Penelope were making the horn sounds right in the baby's face, and it was starting to become an issue.
The least shocking thing you've ever told me about any of your children. Nice. Yeah. Very good to hear.
What about you guys?
Did you have a good New Year's, Benny? What were you up to in Tacoma?
Yeah.
Hotbed for Oregon State recruits. Were you partying with
Tacoma
Malachi Durant? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. 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 I just launched, as you guys know, a product on Amazon, and it's finally starting to sell without me asking my friends to buy it. So
nice.
Yeah, buy that shit.
I was very vigorously refreshing the page to see if orders were coming in. But I've also started a new tradition with Yuri. We've been doing it for the last couple years, where we'll watch each like big city ring in the new year. So like we don't watch all of them, but we watched Sydney, which was early in the morning on the 31st. And then Dubai's was pretty cool. Obviously New York's. And then we stayed up just to watch Seattle's. And I don't know if you guys saw the Seattle fireworks show, but there was no wind in Seattle. And they lighted off the Space Needle. And within like 2 minutes, the whole Space Needle was engulfed in the smoke from the fireworks. And so you couldn't see anything. So yeah, it was really funny. But yeah, just sort of hung out around the house, and I cleared out my garage this weekend and I built, that was it. The cleaning out part was a huge task, but I built a new workbench. I strung up some lights.
You built a workbench without an already working workbench?
That's
that's like
the
immaculate
floor.
But why do you need a workbench then?
Yeah.
You clearly proved to yourself that your workbench is worthless.
I destroyed it because I don't need it.
Well, and I built it like probably way too high. It like comes up to my pecs.
Oh, now it's just a garage bar.
There you go. When I was stringing up the lights, I was thinking of you because it gave a very garage bar type vibe.
Dude. Yeah. Build a bar in your garage, man. It's life changing.
Oh yeah.
I'm about to do that once my garage is clear of all of our Christmas decorations.
It's like your own dive bar. You can sit at it all alone. It's great.
You have a TV in yours, right?
I do. And I need to start. I've Googled several times, like, can you keep TVs in the cold? Because the garage isn't all the way heated. And Google's response is literally like, kind of. So I'm like, do I really need to unmount this TV? And we had a really unseasonably warm December. Like there's 0 snow on the ground here in Minneapolis. So I don't know. I'll probably take it down for like January, February. When we were building it, I told Sam, I was like, the garage bar's open season is the first day of March Madness through Thanksgiving football for sure. I was like, that's what we should aim for. But then it was like, I don't know, like 40 to 50 degrees, like up in like through Christmas. And there were some fun games to watch in all sports. And we didn't go ham out there like we did late summer when we first built the damn thing. But So yeah, we're still figuring that out.
Well, it's going to be a low of 4 and a high of 20. Nice. Next week for you. So then it will be pretty cold. Yeah, I sent it over to you.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that was
too busy.
No, yeah. I was trying. I saw that today as I was flying back to Minnesota. I didn't necessarily. I looked at that quickly and didn't look to see that was Minnesota's forecast. Well, God damn it. Because there's still but no snow in it. It's just cold. I don't want cold. I want snow. I want to go do snow things.
And I asked ChatGPT for you because you're Googling like it's 2023.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And it says it's not advisable to keep a flat screen TV in an unheated garage during the winter in Minneapolis, and here's why. TVs are designed to operate within certain temperature ranges, and the extreme cold in Minneapolis can fall well outside of these ranges, potentially causing damage to the internal components of the TV. And this one I didn't really think about, but condensation. So it's not actually the cold, but when you bring the TV back into the warm environment or it starts to warm up after being in the cold, the condensation can form on the internal parts, and the moisture can lead
be careful
to short circuits.
All right. Well, it's not that level yet, so I just need to I'll dismount it and bring it in before our low of 4, high of 20. Nice.
It'll just lean against the wall in your back hallway for 6 months,
so that it still gets like some
on the floor.
Okay, yeah, you got to ease it back in. I suppose that does make a lot of sense.
Where would you put it though? Inside?
Just in
your basement.
Oh, you should put it in the basement
and just have it be the furnace from Home Alone 1.
Or you can have it just like playing static. Hello! Or like and then every random like 20 or 30 minutes it does like the Ring video.
No one.
So if someone goes in your basement, it's just playing white noise static, and then it just like
no one would break into this house. Oh, that's the best home security system ever. I'm totally doing that.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're welcome,
man. That would scare me so much.
That would. Well, I'll figure that out. I had a good New Year's. Spent my first New Year's Eve with the girlfriend's family, and they are really into game night. And I got my ass kicked in Pictionary, and which I don't think I've ever actually played in my life. I've always been aware that Pictionary is a game and that people play it. I don't think I've ever actually played Pictionary. And yeah, your boy's bad, like big bad. I think I drew. I effectively drew octopus, which is an easy one. I effectively drew locker, which is another easy one. And I think I guessed rubber ducky correctly. And that is like 3 of the like 300 rounds of really intense Pictionary that were taking place. I was down in Georgia for the New Year's holiday. JP, please play 5 seconds of Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles.
Georgia.
Welcome to the Belligerent Beavs, Ray Charles. I believe that is his.
Wow.
Took
him 3 seasons.
He can finally rest easy. Ray Charles, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here. It's the first time I've been in Savannah, Georgia before.
I've heard great things.
Fun town. I got to see River Street, where the famous saying is I got river faced on shit street. I did not get that drunk. No, I bought a Savannah Bananas hat, the really fun baseball team that they have down there.
Oh yeah.
So I got that working for me. There's a institutional daiquiri place. JP, please play 5 seconds
Daiquiri
of the Daiquiri Factory by Andre Nicotina.
Kicking the live ride with killers suspended, smoking weed in the kitchen and stolen.
That one was less planned than my Ray Charles one. Welcome back to the show, Andre Nicotina. You work for it. You're always here.
Yep.
Had a very good strawberry pina colada on a pretty actually cold day in Savannah, Georgia.
No pina coladas, please. Penny, I can see you're about to request it.
No. Oh yeah. I forget. We usually only request good music on here, so just kidding. Sorry, Alyssa Hogue, for that stray that country music just got. We'll request another country song by the end of the show, but one that's good. Anyway.
Old Town Road.
It's a great song.
That is a great song.
But yeah, Richmond Hill was a suburb I was in. Shout out Richie Hill. We used to smoke pot with Richie Hill, Benny.
Yeah.
And have you guys ever been to a Publix grocery store?
I've never even heard of one.
Publix, Publix.
I feel like that's a grocery store in Germany or something.
It's Southern. It's the ones I was like, Lionel Messi was like photographed like casually shop. Yeah, that was a Publix.
But when I saw that, I thought he was in Germany. I don't know why. I just think that Publix is like a German name.
Publix has a sandwich shop within the grocery store. They call it Pub Subs. I had my first Pub Sub, and it was spectacular. I bring that up because we talk about fast food, fast casual food, let's like food takes, whatever. If you find yourself in a town with a Publix grocery store, go in there and get a Pub Sub. Any kind will work. The classic is their chicken tender Pub Sub, which is amazing. They just chop up a bunch of chicken tenders and put them on the sub, and it's delicious, which comes a handful of ways. But also you can create your own. It's like a full-on sub shop, and the bread is delicious. And yeah, it lived up to the billing. That was the way I ended 2023, and it was exciting.
You were eating at midnight?
No, actually, I got that on December 29th, minutes before a really shitty bowl game featuring my favorite football team ever started. And we were not going to talk too much about it. But so that was the best part of my day. I also had to wake up at like 3 a.m. for my flight that day down to Georgia. So the sandwich was the best thing that happened to me. The wake up time was like the third worst thing that happened to me. And the bowl game was the worst, with the exception of our awesome touchdown and 2-point conversion. But whatever, we're not here to talk about that.
No,
we're
but
here
I want
to
say
spread
this.
joy.
Yeah, and I want to say this, man. Really quick on that note, Terry was a zombie, couldn't make the Twitter Spaces.
I couldn't.
Benny, I know.
We all
Benny, your response though threw me off so hard about being like, I have a work meeting. And I was like,
yeah.
What day is it? Then I remember that I was supposed to do
work. It's so hard
work.
to know what day it is. It's so hard.
I will say my entire team took the day off, but all my vendors, or they took the week off. All my vendors took the week off too. And I asked my manager, I was like, can I log on? And if I have nothing to do, I don't have to like use a PTO day. She's like, I guess, yeah. And so I had one meeting the entire week, and it was at 12:30.
Legally, yes, you can. If you have not taken PTO and it's not a federal holiday, you do not have to take PTO.
That's true.
It's happening.
It is true.
Yeah.
So,
dude,
yeah.
This is the first time because I, as I mentioned on this show a couple times this fall, I left my previous job. There was always a big sort of like conference residency, whatever you want to call it, thing that happened immediately after the new year. This was the first time in probably the last 5 years I got to remember how amazing the days between Christmas and New Year's are, and that they just don't exist on the same dimensional plane that the rest of the year exists on. It was incredible. I did shit, but also didn't do shit. And it was a piece of shit and also my best self all at the same time. And it was Mark.
Yeah, it is certainly the time of year where you can be a piece of shit and not feel bad about yourself at all.
Right. Or like mix it, whatever. It's just like, yeah, I had fried chicken for breakfast at 10 a.m., but I also was like reading by the Christmas tree with rum infused hot cocoa, and then like went cross country skiing with a fawn to Narnia, and then came back and watched sports that were like the sports schedule during the holidays is amazing. There's this always college basketball on, no matter what time it is. The day after Christmas Quick Lane Bowl between my native Minnesota and Bowling Green, the most anticipated bowl game of the bowl season, which lived up to the hype. It was an exciting, hilarious, stupid, goofy ass game. Man, it doesn't get better for like during the week daytime sports than like December 23rd to January 2nd. It's spectacular.
I didn't really watch a lot of sports except for the bowl game and at the NBA.
There's been some.
I mean college basketball too, of course, but there was only a couple games. Beaver games.
Only a couple of games, but some really good games.
Really good games.
Some really good games.
Yeah, you know, we're starting season 4 with a really basketball heavy positive episode. And we'll get to all of that hardwood positivity right after we get through the Reagan beer segment and then talk a little football shit. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
That sounds excellent.
Hit the ad.
Oh, hit the ad. Wait, do we actually have an ad?
Not yet.
I'm supposed to be reading. If you want to use this as a blank space to insert an ad, JP, please do it.
And listener, if you wanted to just say out loud something that you wanted to have on this episode, we'll pretend along with you that
JP,
what you
honestly,
just said was an advertisement.
Keep all of this in or don't. Use your judgment here. Yeah. This could be an ad. This could be an ad.
This is brought to you by
your favorite product.
The clothes drying rack that is being sold on Amazon right now. You can DM me and I will give you a link.
The one clothes drying rack on Amazon. Seriously, no, that's a good one. DM Benny, that's at BennyL1986 for a steal of a deal.
It is a steal.
It's on sale right now.
It very much
accurate,
so.
Benny. It's a steal of a deal.
It's
almost too trill to be real.
Yeah.
It's not to that level, but it is a steal of a deal.
Yeah, I saw comps. True. The comps were much more expensive and way less functional than the one I have.
Yeah,
that I bought from your store that you paid me back for.
Yeah, it is the best clothes drying rack out there.
Well,
and I think it was. Yeah. No, go ahead. Cut me off. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep doing it. I have a similar. I think it's the same beer I had last week, or maybe the week before. I don't know. This is the opposite emotion that your product made me feel, Benny. I have a Surly Furious IPA again, which is the opposite of how your product made me feel.
Wow,
it does that.
They don't have a Surly Joyful IPA, unfortunately. It's just Surly Furious. It is very good. And your product is very good. The can is very good. This podcast. But
why are they so
good.
angry?
I don't know. I was angry. I mean, I just don't like losing to Notre Dame at anything. So I was angry a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
fair.
What was I angry about when I actually had this? Has it been since the Jonathan Smith episode? That goofy motherfucker's ass. Well, was that the last time I drank one of these? I don't know. It's just a good beer, and I'm having one. And it's 2024. It's season 4. Belligerent Beavs. And this is going to be our year. Not just our year, but our year. All of our years. It's going to be the year for all of us. And I'm starting it with one of my favorite IPAs in one of my favorite Zoom spaces with my favorite clothes drying rack in the laundry room below me. And if you want to be this happy, you can DM Benny at BennyL1986.
DM me.
And yeah, that's what I got.
Oh, I just said you're drinking. I'm not going to blow it, but Benny, go first.
You want Benny to go?
Well, yeah, I just saw what he's drinking.
Well, 2024 is going to be a lucky year for the Beavs, I think. And maybe not lucky, but I'm going to say it's going to be lucky in a very good way. And 13 is a lucky number. And it has been 13 years since not the one and only, but our squirt videos came out. And thus I am drinking a squirt.
Yeah, I love that.
You have to specify what the squirt videos were.
Look them up.
The mystery makes it better.
Oh my goodness.
We were trying to create an ad campaign for Squirt. We were very bored during the summer of 2011.
Squirt soda.
A Squirt soda.
Yeah, but it's not called Squirt soda. It's just called Squirt.
Yeah.
I think we had some good ideas. I think they should have utilized us for their ad campaign. They didn't.
Yeah,
you can still find those videos on OnlyFans, though.
Actually, you can find them on if you're with. This is probably more not safe for work than going to OnlyFans, but you can go to Squirt Videos.
OnlyFans is nothing but tasteful content.
You can go to squirtvideos.blogspot.com, and it's still the site's still up. Some of them have turned private, I think, because YouTube has taken them down or tried to block them or something. But there's a couple of them that are still up that the public can view, like To Catch a Squirter.
Yes,
when
that's a great one.
Benny chases me through the Oregon State campus and then body slams me,
watching
essentially.
a lot of Chris Hansen TCAP in those days.
Club TCAP, that's right.
Yes. The McDonald's squirt was a great one. Shout out McDonald's and Corvallis.
Oh yeah.
They
were as bored as we were during that summer.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. That was so fun. Okay. It honestly was.
Are some still up for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But only McDonald's and To Catch a Squirter.
No, hit Older Post. The original one, I think, is up too. Benny's first squirt video.
Older Post.
Not Paranormal Squirtivity.
No, that one's not up.
That was your guys' bet. Yeah, Benny's squirt video is still up.
Yeah.
That was your guys' the Paranormal Squirtivity. Like, you should have been submitted into like short film festivals.
It was pretty good.
The cinematography you pulled off, JP,
with my iPhone 4,
using nothing but an iPhone 4, showed your technological brilliance.
Yeah,
and what you're capable of.
Yeah, good times.
We also made a rap song about squirt.
Yeah,
which
that one's a little harder to find, but it is still on the internet.
Wait, you can't play 5 seconds. Play 5 seconds of Propane's verse from that song if you can.
And I've never changed, so you know about. I'm in the soda section. I'm about to buy it all.
That was the culmination. We should have done a music video for it.
Yeah, we were supposed to. We just got too lazy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that wraps up the first episode of 2024 for the Belligerent Beavs Podcast. Just kidding. Cheers to a new year with all of our
JP hasn't gone.
Oh my God, JP hasn't gone. I'm sorry.
I'm back on Starburst. I'm kicking off the new year nicely. So nicely that I'm back on the Starburst.
I apologize to everyone.
It's okay. It's okay. And
Starburst or Star Wars?
Starburst.
Nice.
Does it look like it says Wars?
I thought you might have made a Star Wars joke and I got excited.
Oh, no, I wish it would have. But yeah, that's my beer. So cheers, everybody.
Where does Starburst rank in terms of candy on your guys' favorite candy list? Like, is it high up there?
Ooh.
I would say
I haven't thought about this list in a while.
It's hard to rank for me, and the reason is I'm like, oh God, if I'm at the store and there's Starburst, I'm gonna grab one. But if someone's like, hey, I have some Starburst, or the kids get it for Halloween or Valentine's Day, and I start to eat one, the first one's like, yeah, these are still pretty good. And then after like the 16th one, you're like, they're still really good. It hasn't gotten any worse. Each one I've had has been equally as good as the one before.
Yep.
So it doesn't ever make me want to, it doesn't drive me to go buy it and grab it off the candy aisle or at the checkout stand. But I also don't go to the store. I do Instacart. So maybe that's the problem.
I need to start doing that. I hate going to the grocery store.
Dude, I kind of love going to the grocery store, but I'm also not good at it.
Oh, I'm so bad.
I'm so bad. Oh, yeah, me too.
Especially now that I haven't been to the grocery store in like 5 years because I've only done Instacart.
I can spend $250 at the grocery store and come back and have nothing to make for dinner.
Just drinks.
Just drinks and chips and ramen.
Wait, how would you not have anything to make for dinner then? That sounds like
nothing adult to make for dinner.
Yeah, well, that's
you just had to sprinkle the chips on the ramen. Boom. Adult.
Have you guys ever had the Starburst jelly beans like around like Easter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Starburst jelly beans are fire.
Yeah.
And actually, this reminds me, shout out, we just talked about this yesterday, but shout out, not we, but me and the mini bebe. Shout out to the husband and wife who were sitting behind us at the Utah game who bought my kids Starburst cotton candy.
What?
Yeah.
They
were
have that at Reeser?
Yeah, they're like, here, Dad. They're like, here, this is for the kids if you don't mind. And I was like, well, yeah, I don't mind. They're going to love this. And then they were eating it, and I was like, what smells like Starburst? And they're like, it's Starburst cotton candy, Dad. And they're like just scarfing it down. So, yeah, you can get Starburst cotton candy at Reeser.
Oh, my God. It has come so far since we were in school. Holy shit. Jesus.
I'm so glad no one told me that while I was at Research this year, because I would have spent the rest of my money and gotten really fucking sick.
It also seems like people maybe didn't tell Silas, Bolden, or Tanner Miller that they have Starburst cotton candy at Research Stadium.
Great segue, because they have entered the transfer portal, and we don't like to see that.
Thanks for your contributions.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, both are really sad, and I kind of think it's probably inevitable that we're going to see sort of another wave of outgoing transfers after the bowl game, but I wasn't really expecting Tanner, so I guess it makes sense. If both these guys go to Michigan State, I'm going to be mad. I've tried to stay out of this. Like
the crystal ball is saying that Bolden is likely to headed to Michigan State.
That would suck.
I thought Silas was going to go pro.
Yeah, I did too.
Or come back. And like now I feel like an idiot last week for just being like, what if Silas comes back next year? Even though like I thought it was a slim chance of it happening. And I understand, it's like and you have to enter the portal in order to like figure out what you can make from the portal. But like, I don't know. Is one more year in East Lansing going to improve any draft stock? Like, I don't think so.
No.
So yeah, that's not great. In less disheartening, but also Oregon State departure news, Anthony Gould will be participating in the East-West Shrine Bowl as he prepares for the NFL draft. That I still don't know if Gould has officially hired an agent yet. Maybe he has, but that essentially means like he's in the draft, and which we all expected with his declaration and everything. Ryan Cooper Jr. is going pro as well, which is understandable. And we wish everyone well. We wish you a Merry Beligmas, I guess. For sure for Coop and Gould. But I mean, man, I really I thought there's like kind of like something in the, like it was in the stars that Silas would come back for one more year.
Yeah.
Just ball. And I thought, as I thought that, I called myself naive for thinking that, but I called myself naive thinking he'd go pro and not go somewhere else in college.
Well, and I mean, I think we all are on the same page we thought that Lindgren was pretty all right last year. No big issues with him. But the one thing that I will say that I wish that he would have done more of is get Silas the ball. And I was really excited to see the potential of that happening next year, especially given the weapons that we'll have on offense next year. And yeah, it sucks to see him leave. I think he has so much potential, so much more than what we saw this last year just because of the way that we used him. But every time he got the ball, he was electric. And man, I'll tell you, if he goes to East Lansing, that will really, really sting. And not to go into a rabbit hole, but we've lived through really this seems like it's the first season where the transfer portal is like in full effect. And I think
at least fucking with us,
this season's been particularly bad, and I think I've really changed my tune on the transfer portal. We had this in our group chat earlier, but it was like at first I really was like, oh, I really want the players to do well. I'll be cheering for them. I've sort of gone back on that. I think I get why the players do it, obviously, especially if money's involved. I understand that from a business aspect, but man, it does just really take a lot away from college football. It really does. Right. It's tough to get, really emotionally invested in any one player because they might just leave the next year. So yeah, it's tough to see him go. It's just, it's a tough situation.
Yeah. I told him Minnie Bay, okay, if you take this back to last season, not this last one before, and I told him when Chance Nolan entered the portal, right? And he was he hadn't watched Nolan play in weeks, but he had gotten to meet him and would follow him, was interested when he would hear his name get called and everything else, right? And so when I told him that he was transferring, it was like heartbreaking. You could see it, like, oh, what? Like, so he's not going to be a Beaver anymore? Like, the realization kind of set in. And then as some of the earlier transfers started, like, DJ, Aiden, etc., a little bit of like, oh, like bummed out. And like, but when I told him that Silas entered the portal, who he'd met, he really liked meeting him. He got him to sign his ball. He was great, just totally awesome with Ev. He was like stone cold. And he was like, didn't even look at me almost. He just kind of looked up. He's like, you still got Dame. He's loyal. And I was like, man, if you are this age and you already are realizing that there's this like separation of players that are loyal to the fans and the schools, and then the fans reciprocating that same feeling back, then I think that the next generation, this isn't going to go away, but this is going to be just this much easier for everybody to swallow as it continues to kind of march down the road it's been going down. Because I'm in your boat, Benny. I never really wished anyone like, oh, I'll follow you and hope you do well when they transfer. Even when the days of the transferring window or the transferring, had required 1 year to sit out before you could play again, unless you're a grad transfer. And even then it was like, oh, they're transferring because they kind of are giving up on their situation. Because they couldn't make it work here. Yeah. But now we're seeing transfers that can make it work here, especially, and they still enter the portal looking for something else, and that just is like, fine, yeah, do you? I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, but I'm gonna close the book just like you could. I don't have to cheer for you. You're not cheering for me. So that's it. Well, all right, you're not a Beav. See ya.
Peace. Yeah, Dashel said something that really resonated with me, where he had retweeted somebody saying like, "Don't talk to kids that way," because someone was giving some player that was transferring shit, which you shouldn't do.
No, don't do that.
But Dashel's point was like, these aren't kids; these are guys that are 18 to 23, 24. Like, they're not children. And I think for me, one of the biggest names that transferred first was Aiden, who started the season at 17. So like, I think that's a little bit different, but it's like some of these guys are like near their mid 20s. We don't need to necessarily be treating them as, a 15-year-old that doesn't know better, that doesn't understand what loyalty is. And again, like, if they're chasing the money, chasing a better opportunity, totally get that, respect that. But I also don't think that we need to pretend to be fans or to cheer them on when they leave. It's unfortunate. It sucks. And there is a bit of like good riddance when it's happening now, at least in my personal feelings on it.
Yeah. My one last comment on it though is it isn't that like every single time somebody transfers out and leaves, it's just like, well, you're out of my life. Like, I don't care about what you do, how you're doing, you as a person. But when it comes to you on the football field, especially if my only relationship with you was watching you play football or whatever sport you were playing before you transferred, then that's that. And now that relationship's gone, then that's all I had. I'm not going to pretend like I knew you. But if I didn't know you, and I do know who you are, and I got to know them as a person, like, then maybe of course I will still root for them to be successful as a person. Not going to wish any like ills on somebody. But like, most of these people I only know as the athletes that I watch and enjoy when they're playing for the Beavs. So when that's taken away or ended, and it's ended by their choice, then I'll add on my choice. That's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
Either way, it's not going away. It sucks. It is the new way of sports, and what we're gonna see is the separation of loyalty and not loyal players is just going to be more and more evident. And it's not going to be as startling. I think that's the thing, is we kind of always assume that every player is a little bit loyal to the school, the program that gave them a chance, that they played for, that they represented, right? And when they demonstrate that they might not be, that's when it's like, what? Was this like not real? and it's hard to, you want to question, like, well, you were all, go Beavs last week, and now all of a sudden you're not. And, I think sometimes it's just a facade that people put up once they enter the portal. It's not like they hated Oregon State. That's why they left. I mean, sure, there are probably people, but they got to pretend like they've closed the book, so.
Yeah.
It also sucks
I
when
think
there's like 1 year
year
left of eligibility, because then it's just like, do you get invited back to whatever, like that, the new school's homecoming? Like,
right.
What school do you tell people that like you went to? And, I get like grad transfers and stuff have always kind of been a thing. And so that has been part.
But you have a degree, so it makes sense you can come back.
You have it. And and I know a lot of these guys do as well. Just like I think the COVID year being a thing,
true,
when with the portal has like kind of made it more wild. I do think total numbers in the portal will decrease a little bit when there's not just like this extra year of eligibility that people have to play with. But I don't think that necessarily solves the greater issue that we are thinking about right now. This is just, the Silas one stings, and I don't want to pile on Silas just because it's like what's upsetting about it right now, but that's that's a legacy beef. He's been with the program for a long time,
and it's a family thing too.
And it's a family, exactly. And it's like I have to watch him play for fucking Michigan State next year because their assistant pool is $4 million more than Oregon State's is. Like, like that's where like the people are like, I'm done with watching like all college football. Like, fuck this. That's where it's like, there's not really an argument to that if that's what turns you off of the sport. Because it's like, the color of the pageantry that could counter those arguments before matters less and less and less every day. And that's what's heartbreaking. It's representative of like a bigger thing that like we can't change, which sucks.
Well, and maybe that's a good segue into sort of what our football discussion is really going to be about, and that is that it is completely changed the landscape of the bowl season. I've never been
they're
so
fucking preseason games now. Like,
if that, I mean, the Fiesta Bowl was half filled. Do you remember when we played Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl back in 2001? Like, it was packed. The tickets were being sold on the second market for like ridiculous amounts. Like, they just don't mean anything. Like, unless you're in the playoffs, they really don't mean anything. And you can see that it was our second string offense almost completely. We had one starter left. Levin Good was the one starter after Silas got hurt. Other than that, it was second string, third string, and like
and Tanner, who's now in the portal.
Yeah. But it's like, would you even go to research to watch that? I mean, I know we would, but would the majority of the fan base go to research and like, let alone travel halfway across the country to go see that? It's just, there's a lot of repercussions. And I think, the Sun Bowl is one of them, where the final score was not indicative of how those two teams fared this season.
But it happened in the Florida State Georgia game too, obviously for different reasons. Like, it's so many of these games you're watching, it's just like, well, we're used to seeing this guy play for this team, but today we've got fucking somebody. Honest, the people who deserve a raise are all the play-by-play and color analysts and sideline reporters for these games who have had to learn on the go real quick. Yeah. The dude who started Minnesota's bowl game had thrown one pass in his entire career, and he's a fucking like 6-year senior. Wasn't going to play in the bowl game because he's getting married in like 3 weeks, and PJ Fleck essentially begged him to play in it. That's probably enough football, don't you think?
Well, hold on. I want to make a comment about. I do think that it's an interesting discussion about what is up with the bowl game. Like, what is our bowl game fixable? Yeah. And what I mean, it's clear what happened. The transfer portal happened. Opt-outs happened. Again, players have their own right to do whatever they feel is best for them. I'm not going to ever.
I will say, just opt-outs happened before the transfer portal happened.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Mostly with guys who were
first-round
preparing
picks
for the NFL draft.
And
but even
they were
like
first-round picks.
Yeah,
They were, and now people were. I think if it was still just NFL draft opt outs, like Notre Dame's first round quarterback Sam Hartman opted out. He's not a first round pick. He's not a second round pick. If he's a third round pick, he's very handsome.
And he was, but he was still there. It's not like he was busy doing something else.
Right.
And it's just like, I think it did reach a point too where I think greater college football realized just like, all right, what are we doing with these games? And then also the transfer portal happened at the same time, which has to open because they're still student
that can't
athletes.
change.
Yeah. It has to open when it does because they're still student athletes and you got to enroll. So now you basically said every bowl game except the national championship and the 2 games going into the national championship don't matter.
They won't be around. They won't.
I think you're right.
They're going to contract the number.
I think you're right.
Previous system, it was like everyone play your bowl game and we'll just tell you who's the national champion, and that wasn't a fair system either. So with this, I don't know. I don't know. It was like 12 years ago or something. I think I sent you guys a bracket where I was like, if the college football tournament was as big as the college basketball tournament, this is what it would look like. And it was, I think it was Brandon Cooks' last year, and like Oregon State would have been a 15 seed against Ohio State. And I'm like, if you want to save bowl games, you got to do that. And the national champion, the 2 teams in the national championship played 19 games or something. Otherwise, I don't think they'll disappear, but I think it'll get even worse, and they'll just keep having them, and they'll just keep going through the motions with them.
I can't imagine they would do it.
I don't know when they start losing money. When do they start losing money off of it?
Well, like, think about this. I just looked up because I went to a very random the 2007 Emerald Bowl. It was about as random as you could get when it comes to
incredible evening.
That's where we played Maryland, right?
Yes, we played Maryland in San Francisco at a baseball stadium.
Yeah.
So I think it wasn't like it was an ideal setup for, like, I mean, yes, Oregon State graduates can make it down from Oregon. They might live in California or somewhere in the vicinity of the West Coast. Maryland being all the way across the country, they do have still like a pretty good reach across the United States. But that stadium reconfigured for football, I don't know what its full attendance number could have been, but it was still, I just looked this up. I don't know how trustworthy this is, but it's like a reference site. And maybe it was from Wikipedia, but it says that the 2007 Emerald Bowl official attendance was 32,517. And I remember it being really full. Like, I was like, wow, people are here at a baseball stadium. It's like such a weird setup right now. And I don't think you get that right now. And I don't think you're getting that at almost 70% of bowl games that don't have CFP implications. So, Terry, I agree. The only fix is either make every bowl game part of a tournament that matters, or let every team play the bowl games how they used to, and then you decide CFP.
That's actually probably the best idea I've ever heard, where
it's an extra game. If you've earned it, you get another chance to make the CFP.
So you would have the
sorry for all the radio silence, but yeah, you
would have the schools play in the bowl games that they were selected to, and then
after that the committee decides.
Yeah,
and then then four teams would play one more game, and 2 of those teams would play 2 more games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would certainly fix games like the Fiesta Bowl for sure.
Yep.
Where it might not be a bad idea to do that this is eventually going to expand to 16 teams, and probably pretty soon.
Yeah. Do it for the entire thing then. Just create a bracket system after the bowl game.
They'll never create a bracket beyond, well, actually, yeah, maybe they will.
I think 16 will be the max, but yeah.
But they're not gonna, I don't think they would ever just get rid of the broader bowl games. And I wouldn't want that either. I do agree that something needs to be done to make them the product that they used to be. But
I mean, think
I
about
don't
the
think
Oregon State Notre Dame game. Let's say that there's a 16-team playoff, even a 12-team playoff, and we've got 16 versus 19 facing off in the Sun Bowl. That is CFP implications for the winner.
Well, yeah, for sure.
And the Sun Bowl is one of the games that didn't need help with attendance.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
like
the Pop-Tarts Bowl and like the Bahamas Bowl and like these bowls that like clearly never had national championship implications, but were still attended. And like I remember being a kid and like learning from like my dad and like dad's friends and adults who were like, oh, I'm not a huge college football fan, but I do watch the bowl games. Like bowls, like people would have bowl pick'em pools, probably not on the same level as like March Madness, but people watch.
I remember that for sure.
Like all the bowl games, and it's just like, oh, like fucking Mississippi State, Maryland's playing like something, and like weird shit would always happen in those games, and it's just I feel like there's like a charm to it. There was, like I said earlier, color and pageantries to it. Yeah. And especially for kids, like you want to grow the game of football still. It's like I remember being like home from school, you get 2 weeks off for winter break. Yep. And it's like a few days before Christmas, like day after Christmas, whatever. And it's just like, it's maybe like a Wednesday or something. And there's football on at 1 p.m. And it's like, what is this? This is the Copper Bowl. And it's like
the Copper Bowl.
Wisconsin versus Georgia Tech, and you're like, all right, I'm into it. Like that was what bowl games were. Yeah. And it mattered who won. And I think there's always like a little, like the winning team got like a little bit more of a payout from those games than the losing team did. And it like never went straight to the players, but still like it was, let's win this final game. And now it's like for a lot of times too, it was like players like, this is my last college football game ever. I'm going pro after this, or I'm just done after this. And now they kind of just, instead of doing that, they're like, all right, the last regular season game is my last game ever, and I'm opting out. So,
well, and I think a lot of it too had to do with conference matchups too, right? Like the Rose Bowl was always the Pac-12 or Pac-10 against the Big Ten, and once they stopped doing that and this conference realignment stuff started happening, I think that's another aspect that we haven't even discussed that is also playing into this that sort of minimizes it. But to your point, Terry, they're going to continue to do this until they stop making money off of it. But I think next year is when we'll see what the viewership numbers look like, because I think people saw what happened this year, and this year seemed like it was such a steep decline from the 2022 bowl season. Yeah, that I think you'll find a lot of people just tune out.
What we are approaching is, and I don't know if any college basketball teams have turned down bids to the NIT, but we have seen them turn down bids to the CBI, and maybe bids to the NIT have been turned down before, where it was like, Tinkle has turned down a bid to the CBI for Oregon State before. It's like, yeah, this just isn't worth it. Financially, it's not worth it. We want our kids to focus on finals. We're an NIT team. I would have to go back and look. I'd be interested to know what the percentage of accepted NIT bids are, probably over just like the last 20 years, because when the NIT and NCAA started their kind of rival tournaments, and the NIT was almost even more prestigious for in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But that's like kind of like where we're getting to. And at least like those tournaments in the college basketball space have remained, but not without question of what's the fucking point. And does anyone besides like real hardcore hoops heads care about this? And
yeah, but also operational cost of a tournament is, especially one like the NIT or the CBI, is substantially lower than the costs than running all these like third or fourth tier bowl games. Yeah, there was 40 something bowl games this year?
42, I think.
I would be shocked if there's more than 30 next year.
I think they'll still be in the 40s next year, but I think the hard questions will start being asked.
I think they're already being asked.
There's contracts and stuff too. Like these stadiums have been reserved for these dates like years in advance, and the TV contracts have like been negotiated. So I don't think you could. I don't think anyone who's
well,
like
the TV
a CEO
contracts.
of
Most of these lower level bowl games. This is what's part that's interesting though is most of these bowl games that no one is watching and no one's playing in are the ESPN bowl games that they own, and they're the ones
City Bowl.
driving the final nail in the coffin of these bowl games with all of the focus being on their CFP and the playoffs.
Them canceling those bowl games would be admitting fault for them, like this shit that they've created. Like they're
really
trying to have their cake and eat it too.
They're trying to put the focus on the CFP. That's their golden egg.
I know, but the bowl games are like basically function as like 3.5 hour long commercials for the CFP for like the weeks leading up to it. Because that's like kind of all.
Maybe that's the rationale. Maybe.
So I think at least from a broadcasting standpoint, that'll keep them on. I don't think they legally could look at a lower performing bowl game in terms of like what revenue, interest, ticket sales, TV viewership, and make a decision for next year. I just don't think they could legally do that. So I think we'll see the same number of bowl games next year and maybe the year after. But I think then we would start seeing like maybe that's when the other shoe drops. I don't know. I'm just imagining the paperwork in canceling a bowl game that currently exists is hell.
Probably.
Because even things like the Hawaii Bowl have been going for 60, 70 years or so.
Did that happen this year?
Yeah.
Did it?
The Hawaii Bowl.
I did not watch one bowl game other than the Beavs. Oh, yeah. San Jose State was in the Hawaii Bowl. They lost to Coastal Carolina.
Right. But and that's like the sickos still like watching San Jose State, Coastal Carolina in a bowl game. I don't know. Can we please stop talking about football? We have good stuff to talk about.
Like
basketball.
Yes. Amen.
Football's done. It's fucking over.
Bye,
pigskin. You stupid fucking oblong shaped ball made out of fake leather. Basketball, the real sport.
Man, JP, real leather.
Please play 5 seconds of the theme song from Hoosiers. Yeah, now we're in the mood. We're in it. Opposite of a sad trombone noise. That makes less sense when I didn't say the first note from the football segment, which was supposed to be sad trombone noise. Opposite of a sad trombone noise for women's basketball, which is still undefeated and ran Oregon off the fucking floor at Gill.
Mopped them.
12-0. Men's basketball improves to 9-4. Everyone was saying, you fucking idiots, excited about these wins over App State, UTSA, Idaho State, Utah Valley. You fucking homers. They're going to go winless in the Pac-12. Just watch. Poverty fucking podcast. Poverty program. Oh, what's that? Is that an 86-70 victory against USC? And LeBron James? Or Bronny James? I don't care. It's his same bloodline. I don't give a shit.
LeBronny James.
Oregon
LeBronny
State
James
beat the Trojans at Cal. The Trojans famously were also the team that Craig Robinson beat in his first Pac-12 win ever. I know Wayne Tinkle has had several Pac-12 wins.
Ever?
It's his first Pac-12 win this season. And for some people who think Wayne Tinkle's never won a fucking basketball game before, yeah, USC didn't look that good. I don't care. 9-4. We won 86-70. Tyler Bilodeau, aka Thrillado. Jordan
aka Dollar Bilodeau.
Oh!
God damn it. That one's so much better. Anyway, let's talk. I want to talk women's hoops first, though, because that's the 12-0 team. That's the undefeated team. But
still no love.
Replete with haters, not ranked, unranked at 12-0
ridiculous
after running Oregon off the floor. They didn't have to get off to the great start. They had a 13-point deficit to my arch nemesis Kelly Graves. the Oregon Ducks, but turned that into a 21-point victory and hit the 12-0 mark. They're not ranked yet, but they are receiving votes. If the AP poll extended beyond 25, they would be checking in at 28. But all of the Pistons are firing with this team. We saw a great game against Oregon by Tamia Gardner, among others. But yeah, you wanted an answer from Ruick after the last two kind of down years, or just not the same level of dominance we're accustomed to. The first third, little more than a third of this season, answering the bell.
Yeah.
They've been spectacular. And I don't think they'll lose much at home, if at all.
Yeah. Yep.
How was the rest of the Pac-12 fared? Because that's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so good.
USC.
The
So
Pac-12 is amazing.
That's where I was going to say is this weekend's going to be a huge test, at least as like using it for a measuring stick for this team. I think they're going to fare pretty well. I think we'll surprise some people. I was wrong in my, not to put the focus on the men's team, but I was wrong with my prediction of which games would go which way. So I'm not going against the LA schools. So I'm not going to predict which games will go which way against the LA schools this weekend, because one, they're on the road for the women's team, but they take on number 6 SC on Friday and number 2 UCLA on Sunday. I mean, that is like, there isn't a better way to measure what kind of caliber team you have this season than facing off on the road in LA against 2 top 6 teams. But the season thus far, well, first the comeback against Oregon, that was so much fun. Man, it felt like it was so sluggish to start the game. Oregon kind of like quietly came out ahead in the first quarter, and it was like, wait, what? How'd they get these points? And our shots just weren't dropping. And it was clear that it was like not an effort thing. It wasn't a matchups thing. It was just the luck of the draw and which shots were falling. And the roles reversed in the second half. It was evident that we were finally getting our looks. We were finally executing. We were able to put in buckets that just weren't dropping in the first half. And then all these ones that were dropping for Oregon in the first half were nowhere to be seen in the second half. I mean, after that first quarter, like they scored like 20-something points. So, and we put up almost 50 in the second half. It was domination at its finest in that second half. Definitely led by Reagan, of course, the namesake of our beers segment, but
career high 17 rebounds.
Yeah. I mean, 20 points, 24 points, and then 17 boards, nearly a 20-20 on the night, I guess, day. And one thing I want to say about this team, which is why I'm really excited for them, is the potential last season that we had hoped for and watched develop. Let's be honest, we watched it definitely develop over the course of the season, especially when there was a lot of youth trying to figure out what do we do with our leader, Talia, out. Against Oregon, Talia would tell you she didn't have her best game. And so it wasn't like because she was down and out, no one else can get anything going. They turned it up for her, and they did it in her place. And I think that's what was missing last season because of the youth. And with Reagan, Tamia, AJ, they all just like, went out there and were like, we got you. Don't worry about this. I wouldn't put too much stock, though, in a win against Oregon. They're bad. They are bad. So
yay.
I really do think that even one win this weekend would put the Oregon State team in the top 25. But I would love to see them get both, because I do think that they have that kind of potential and that this team might have one of the highest ceilings that we have seen for a Ruick team. Usually the teams that historically he's had be the most successful were playing at their ceiling at that point. And we knew it was coming. Whereas with this squad, I think that they're going to be very surprising and have a higher ceiling than all of the ones we've seen prior to them. So it'll be curious to see what happens against USC on Friday.
May not want to put a ton of stock in Oregon, but it's always great to beat the Ducks. And as I mentioned, always great to beat Kelly Graves. And Ruick improves to a record of 13-7 in his career against Kelly Graves. So we love to see that.
Yeah. What didn't Graves say something about this?
Yeah. I can read actually. So Dashel tweeted both. Quote, he had a post-game quote from both coaches, and we can shout out Dashel for his incredible reporting of this game,
Shout
but
out
also
Dashel.
Just in general,
sort of exemplifies what the rivalry means, and that it's bigger than football, as we've been trying to say on this show since this whole realignment started. But so Dashel's quotes, Nick, were just lifting your words exactly here, but I hope it's a credit to you. Read Nick Dashel's work at OregonLive.com. But the question was, Coach, in your career, you're 13-7 against Coach Graves. Why do you feel like you guys have had so much success in your history against him? What sort of challenges does he bring in those matchups, which seems to be a good game no matter what happens? And Ruick's response is, obviously, he's a really good coach, had a lot of success in his career. When he got to Oregon, we were at the top. He was facing the conference champion for the first 3 years, I believe, or maybe 4. I can't remember. We had the upper hand. And then Sabrina showed up, and we went 4-4 against Oregon during Sabrina's years. I think we won 5 of the last 7, something like that. It's been back and forth. It's our rival, and I'm an Oregon State guy from day one. It's a series that I take a lot of personal pride and joy in. We've had a lot of success against them. I think it brings out our best, and I think both programs have made each other better, which is really fun to be a part of. And then what he posted in the presser with Coach Graves. Coach, you've had a couple tough losses in your career to Oregon State. These games always seem to go down to the wire. What is it about this Oregon State team? ... And Graves' response, we've won 3 of the last 4 years here, so I don't know what you're talking about. That's the honest truth. We finished ahead of them in the standings 6 straight years. So yeah, this is not an easy place to play. Beavers always get up. It's deep rooted in Coach Scott. I really like that guy, but he's a Beaver. His parents were Beavers. His grandparents were Beavers. It's in who he is, and he gets his teams fired up. I don't have that deep-rooted, sense of what this is like, so I guess I got to do a better job. But the reality is we've had some pretty good success up here in the last few years. And that sounds like 2 coaches after a rivalry game, for sure.
Yeah. It also sounds like one is a Duck coach and the other is a humble Beaver.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I didn't definitely
tell which coach lost.
I didn't even realize that they went 4-4 against Oregon when Sabrina Ionescu was there. That's pretty incredible. Sabrina didn't lose many games in college.
Yeah.
I hate Oregon, but she is amazing. I can't say anything other than that. So until reading that, I didn't realize that Oregon State had a 500 record against one of the best college basketball players we'd seen in the rivalry. So, it's right as well. But yes, great game from Reagan. The old school Benny on the shorts threads, like this might be the best Oregon State jersey that exists that they were wearing in this game with the orange script over the black number. Old school Benny on the shorts. You go to the recap on osubbeavers.com. There's a great picture of AJ just fronting.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a fun start, and we're now at the point where it's like,
rank them, you cowards.
Rank them, you cowards. And it's like, I wonder if this will be like a season where we kind of get back to whatever, to where it can now be that season. It's like, I wonder how good we can be. It's not just about like getting back to being respectable or being like, can we have like 2010 again or whatever. It's just like, all right, like we can dream now. And that's what's fun.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Just one quick question. Was it the Oregon coach who said that these games always come down to the wire, or was that the reporter that was asking?
That was Dashel in the question.
Oh, okay.
That was a very general, like, it seems these games always come down to the wire, and
he was fishing, man. He was just fishing for a quote.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was
and that's also like, and then
because 62-41 is not exactly down to the wire.
And that's where it's like, when you're the coach, it's just like you start going back to the past. It's like the last 6 years, like 1 20-point loss. Yeah. Welcome to reality. Welcome to the new. I'm so happy. I love these jerseys. I love this team so much. Shout out everyone.
Yeah, shout out Scott's Beaver Dam for copping me a Reagan Beers jersey. I sent him on a
he got you one?
covert mission. That I said, if you're there, snag me one, and I'll shoot you a Venmo. And yeah, he's got one in hand for me.
Also, shout out Scott for his family is now 2nd generation ball boy and ball girls. Scott was a ball boy back in the 90s, and his daughter was the ball girl for the game against Oregon. So
very cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Scott and his family.
All right. Before we move on to men's, I want to shout out Donovan Hunter, who is 2nd on the team in assists right now. Has started 11 of the 12 games. We were excited when she committed to the Beavs, and I had a lot of high hopes for what she could do. And I think we're seeing like the almost like the polar opposite of last year, where it's like Talia being injured. Now we're seeing how like good the team can be when like Talia is healthy, and there's also like another guard who can help facilitate and can work the point and can play off ball and can get people involved. So, you know, Talia is the team leader in assists, but just has a lot of help in that regard, and can get the team set up, set the ball movement, and make a lot of things happen, and can make. They're both, you know, pretty damn good show women for this team. So I think when I watch, there's so, like, obviously the players that we've known for a while, but it's like Donovan Hunter has been a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, you know, we watching the team last year, we knew it wasn't that far away. It was like just some better injury luck and maybe an influx in just like a couple places. And I think we're seeing a big part of that influx we needed with Donovan Hunter. She's been spectacular. So shout out Donovan, but also shout out the whole team and Coach Scott, of course, always.
Yep. It's been a fun one this thus far, and I mean, like I said, this is what we envisioned could have been last year if the youth that arrived would have been able to have a lot of chances to play alongside the, you know, leadership of TVO, but we didn't get a chance to see that. But now we're seeing the fruits of that rough season, and that is that there is a ton of confidence on that court.
Right. Oh, it's exciting. It's gonna be a fun winter. And what might make it more fun, we didn't think they were gonna suck, but if you thought they were gonna suck, Oregon State men's basketball might not suck. In fact, they might be
kind of good.
86-70 win against the USC Trojans, beating the likes of Boo Ellis and Bronny James on his father, LeBron James's birthday on December 30th, while miles away, LeBron James and the Lakers were losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves in quote unquote controversial fashion. Your toe was on the line, LeBron. It wasn't a three. Me, Laker fans, you suck and you know it. Anyway, that's not what we're here to discuss. But Bronny James and the
still true.
Ball. It's still true, goddammit. Ball to Wayne Tinkle, Jordan Pope, Tyler Bilodeau, Dexter Acano, Casey Beckway, and the rest of the Oregon State Beavers in blowout fashion. I'll say it, blowout fashion. Oregon State improves to 9-4. Pope and Bilodeau eclipsing 20 points in the same game. That's the first time since I think it's November 2022 that we've had two guys go for 20 plus in the same game.
Was that the Duke game?
No, it was at no one scored. The Duke game ended 22-20, basically.
No. Could have been 23, man.
It was 54-51, I believe. No, that was at Wazoo, I believe. And where is my note on this? Pope and Bilodeau both balling out against SC. Yes, here it is. And they are both the number 1 and number 2 sophomore scorers in the Pac-12. It is still the Pac-12 for this year, so it's not just between them and Washington State. Trolls, I can already see you trying to turn that stat around on me. This includes all 12 teams for the rest of this basketball season. They lost a tough one to UCLA in the first game of this homestand against the LA schools. And, you know, UCLA has been down a little bit this year. I think USC is probably better than UCLA. So a game against the Bruins is when you'd like to see them win, but getting the split at home. And now they're going on the road to the Palouse on Thursday, followed by a game against UW on Saturday. They're playing UW basketball, not football, who not sure why that matters or what they're fucking doing. Who gives a shit? Sorry for even bringing it up. But watching that game against USC, and I was just like, all right, how do we measure success for Oregon State men's basketball this year? And what are we hoping to achieve, or what do we want to see? And I don't think top half of the conference is that crazy. I also don't even think it's like being a lowball homer to want to see that and maybe be happy with a season like that. But Cal doesn't look great right now. Stanford doesn't look great. And I think we showed that we're right there with the LA schools or better. And the sample size of both Washington and Washington State doesn't look too great either. We'll only have one series against Arizona. And that leaves teams like Oregon, Utah, and Colorado, who I think have won some nice games and have some nice pieces. But the sort of doom scrolling that this team's going to be at the bottom of the conference, I think, was a little too premature. And it's not just, getting a 2-point win in fucking quadruple overtime by a final score of 50-48 against USC in like a game when no one could hit a shot, really. But I think some of the non-conference games have looked better given what those teams have gone on to do. App State is a great example of that. And I don't know. I just I feel like I have a very healthy relationship with this team right now. And maybe you guys feel the same way, where a sweep in Washington this weekend wouldn't be the biggest surprise. And I wouldn't, have one of my very long walks in the rain where I contemplate the meaning of all of this shit. And I think a 1-1, a split or a sweep would make me happy. And I'd still want to see a little bit more, but I'd be in and I'd be interested and I'd be excited and I'd be intrigued. And I think that's what you need with the men's basketball program right now. It just sort of seems like the identity that they've been searching for isn't as far away as we once thought, and that they have at least a trio of scorers and some toughness down low and a team that's playing hard for each other, which hasn't always been the case here.
I think that's the key. That is the key, that these guys are bought in, and the locker room issues of the past. I mean,
and there have been a few.
But hats off to the staff for, at least in regards to the culture, righting the ship relatively quickly in what could have been like an absolute disastrous season of external transfer influx that caused issues with returning players, or returning players caused issues with them. Whatever the whole riff was, that could have left a lasting mark far longer than 2 seasons. And last year, again, yeah, we were hoping to see some sparks like this. We were hoping to see development. We saw it here and there. And now these guys, again, they've got the confidence, they've got the run, they're bought in. Those close games early in the season, I thought when they happened, everyone was like, "Oh, we barely beat so and so in double overtime. We were lucky they didn't make the bucket at the buzzer." I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as, wait, this team isn't giving up. The last 2 years, I felt like a lot of these guys.
And those were games we lost.
Yeah, that we lost because it was almost visible on the court that these guys were not interested in trying to fight for the win. And I had not seen that in those close games when it was easily a throwaway game in the couple years past. I would say the UCLA game maybe showcased a bit of coaching touch that UCLA still has at their advantage. Those halftime adjustments essentially spurred them back into business, and it was over. USC, I think that was a game, again, that was huge for us. Not because of SC, not because of Bronny James, not because they're traitors and it's the last time they'll probably ever come to Gill Coliseum. The biggest thing was it was a close game coming off of a game that we let go on our own almost through halftime, and we held on the rest of the game. And didn't just hold on. There's been a lot of Wayne Tinkle era teams that have had a lead and held on, but it made it too close for comfort too many times. And yeah, there was a couple points where this was trending towards that, and it was a little bit worrisome, but it never got to the point where you were like, what are they doing? Like, they're blowing it. It was always, all right, it's a run. Let's push back. And they were able to do that. I don't think USC didn't score after halftime, by the way, for I don't know, 8 minutes or something nuts. It was like,
wow.
It felt like forever. So these guys were ready to keep the pressure on, and I thought they looked cohesive. They looked great. Again, they seemed bought in. They're executing in the system. For those who said that Wayne has no offensive game plan, I would say I think he's found the right people to make that work. Their scoring ability over the last whatever games this season has made me feel like they're not hard pressed to score. They're not stressing to score. If they face a good defense, they might have trouble, but it isn't one of those things where it's just like they get open looks and just can't execute, and they're not put in a system that is beneficiary of them.
And something that's really helping the offense right now is this is the best that they have shot at the free throw line in a while.
God, yeah.
And we've talked about this. Like, it seems like since we started the show, we've been screaming free throws are free points was like kind of the initial Twitter catchphrase we had. But they're number 2 in the conference in free throw percentage right now, and they're shooting better at the line than their opponents are, and making that an advantage. And if I have a criticism of Tinkle, that's certainly been one of them. Is this team has struggled from the line, and so I'd say with free throw percentage, and then also like this team has done better with rim protection. They're averaging almost more than like a full block per game at the rim than their opponents are as a team. And we talked, there's a big Chol game earlier this year that we got to come on here and talk, like just getting to see that guy in action and fully healthy has been fun. But with Abekwe and Ratai being, stout defenders, they don't have the same wingspan or height that Chol does. But I think I've liked the look of Justin Rochlin's defense when he's been in there, and of course Bilodeau too. I think you sort of flip the script, not even entirely, but just make it something that used to be a loss into a win with free throws and rim protection. That's probably a difference each year between like 2 to 4 wins total. which would make a couple of like the past few seasons and some in the past a little bit easier to swallow. And I know that's not where we want to totally draw the line here, but let's just take this team for what it is right now. They're 9-4. They just beat a team with talent that has been struggling, but still, Boo Ellis is a fantastic basketball player. Andy Enfield is a damn good college basketball coach. Mick Cronin's a damn good college basketball coach, even if this isn't the year under the sun for the UCLA Bruins. That's a challenging 2-game set. And there was a lot more good basketball than bad from the Oregon State Beavers. I think this weekend, I think, will be a pretty good test or a pretty good telltale of how much we can expect, because Tinkle on the road hasn't been great in his entire tenure. So, and this is the first
road
game,
test.
the first game we've played neutral sites. Yes. But this game at Pullman in Pullman will be the first true road game of the season. And it's game number 14, which I get, but it's time to put in that work away from home as well. So I will be very happy with a split this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'll celebrate it with a banana split on the show.
Oh,
Wow.
that sounds so good.
I can't remember the last time I had a
flavor.
banana split, but
During the Reagan Bananas split segment.
One stat that I think is indicative of what you said, JP, of the will to win with this team, or their fight, is if you look at the rebound split in the USC game, Oregon State had more offensive rebounds than USC had defensive rebounds. They almost doubled USC up. It was 36-20. And I think that's just that it is a very indicative stat of a team that is in the game, has their head in the game, is wanting to win, is willing themselves to win. It is that specific stat. So I think shout out to the team. Every single player that played, with the exception of one, got a rebound. So they're crashing the boards. There's obviously been a huge shift in that focus for the team. So, and that's the sort of stuff that can win you games on the road too. Because when your shots are off, not falling, that's what's going to be able to pick you back up. So I also think that this team's young, right? Like we're seeing the same thing with the women's team. This team's learning how to win. I think they may have surprised themselves a little bit beating USC the way that they did. And I think that can propel them, because I don't think we're the only ones that are looking, or fans aren't the only ones that are looking and saying, you guys are winning some pretty close games against teams that aren't expected to do a lot. And then you go out and beat USC by double digits. Then maybe that builds a little bit of confidence, which is needed going into your first road test. So I agree with you guys. This weekend will tell us a lot, and a split would make me happy as well. Obviously, a sweep would be great, but I think a split's a reasonable expectation.
It's very reasonable, and it's also not even saying the bar is too low either. Like, those are places we've struggled, and I think it's not like Tinkle's new. He's well familiar with the challenge of building a winner in basketball at Oregon State, but I don't think that, the culture setting thing should be lost. I think seeing the team stack up W's in the win column is a good thing. Just when if we're looking at recency bias, 6-1 in the last 7 games, and USC is not the only blowout in those 7. Set season highs in team assists against USC, set a season high in points against USC, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage for a game. So let's take that momentum into Pullman and get a big win against that team that we love to love and can no longer hate, except on the days we're playing them in big games. And I think this would qualify as a big game against our beloved Coug brethren over on the Palouse. I think it would mean a lot to Tinkle, and it would mean a lot to the guys on the team if they're able to get a win, and to JP, of course, against the fellow 9-4 Cougs who are coming off a close loss against Colorado. They have also, they're bit of a mixed bag with them this year. They got shellacked at Utah in their first conference game of the season, and also have losses to Mississippi State and Santa Clara. So they have
to go to Santa Clara.
It would be a fun school to go to. Their best win of the year is they beat Boise State 66-61. Utah Tech. We played Utah Valley, which is different.
One
not the same school.
Yeah, so there's not a common opponent.
It's not Utah Silicon Valley Technical Institute.
Utah Silicon Valley Blue Mountain State. Wrestling. Host Penn State. Reverse Penn State. Is that at Gill, JP?
It's at Gill.
At Gill. Okay. Wrestling versus Penn State on January 5th.
First time they've ever wrestled at Gill.
JP is going to get this out on January 3rd just so that we get 2 full days of advertising for that.
Me? No, Andre is.
But Andre is going to get this out on January 3rd.
Skinner on it. They're on it right now. They're already mixing behind the boards.
They're already mixing.
See them.
It's like Spaceball. You guys remember the movie Spaceballs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made the movie before they were done making it. They had that film. They're watching the film in the movie. They're watching that scene in the movie while it's being
in
filmed.
The movie. Yeah.
In the movie.
Yes, I recall.
I don't remember.
I do.
That part.
Betty's just like, why does this is? I'm just gonna smile through Terry referencing something stupid again.
That's the movie where the dad in Honey I Shrunk the Kids play Darth Vader.
He's the Darth Vader spoof, Lord Helmet.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, I know movie. I don't know.
Trusty first in command, Colonel Sanders.
I should watch this movie then.
Spaceballs is so funny.
Yeah, it is so good.
Yeah. Everyone should watch Spaceballs. Shout out Spaceballs. It basically was the first ever spoof movie of that.
Yeah.
25 years later they made Scary Movie, and they don't make Scary Movie without Spaceballs.
Are they on
it's
Scary
not like the
Movie
same
13?
They need to stop.
Still making that?
They need to stop with that shit.
Do a
Scary Movie
Fast
was great.
Furious
then there's after 300 came out, and then
trilogy,
6 days later they came out with Meet the Spartans. It's I'm sick of spoof movies. But Spaceballs was the first one, making fun of Star Wars, obviously, and they did it perfectly.
Agreed.
Wrestling. Hosting Penn State on January 5th.
And they're going to beat them perfectly.
They're going to beat them perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Penn State's like a powerhouse wrestling program.
Penn State is one of the best wrestling programs in the country. So
the fact that we've played them, we've gone up against them twice in the last, 4 years or 3 years. So one was I think at a tournament or something that was a neutral site. And then again, actually, in State College. So it was 2 years in a row. We played them in the last 2 years, but we've been on the road, and to have them show up for a match at Gill is one, not something to take for granted, but two, not something to just be in jaw dropped awe of. I think we still want to beat the shit out of them and get the W. But hey, I mean, this might be one of the few chances to see a program like Penn State wrestle against our Beavs at Gill, especially with
Beaver fam, you know what to do.
Yeah, with the uncertainties. Yeah, Phil Gill. I mean, who knows? I mean, right now, wrestling is included with a WCC or independent. They said no, they're independent. Them gymnastics and now maybe baseball might operate, as under the Pac-12, Pac-2 umbrella and continue to kind of schedule as they have, because they've been scheduling independents forever, especially wrestling. But if you don't have any clout with your conference, it's going to be a lot harder to draw programs like Penn State, no matter how good we are, and we are a really, really good wrestling program.
Especially without support from a bigger conference, like from the conference offices and leadership helping you out there. So, but Coach Pendleton's going to have those boys ready to go. Yeah. Ready to chop wood. We've got to get Coach Pendleton on the pod. We've talked about it.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, he's due up. Coach, if you're listening, we want you on the pod. We'll send an email to the powers that be to get
you on Coach.
I know. We know you're busy. Take care of Penn State first.
Actually, talk with us and then go maybe deal with Penn State if you'd like.
Also, gymnastics season. Another sport Oregon State happens to be awesome at. Wow, isn't that a trend? Just being really good at all the things.
Man,
2024 season
otherwise
at the Mean Girls Super 16 Championships at noon on Saturday at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. This is, I believe, the second straight season we've started with a meet in Vegas, and we are sadly not at it again. I bet Warren. MVP listener Warren DeGray.
Yeah, is Warren going?
Warren, let us know if you're going.
Yeah,
and then we'll overnight you a microphone, so you can interview, do live check-ins.
Yeah,
from Matt's side.
Yeah, I like that.
Matt.
Also, Warren, let me know if you want to go see the new Mean Girls. I am in.
There's a new Mean Girls.
There's a new Mean Girls. I love Mean Girls.
Yeah.
I'm down to see it. I'm skeptical, as I am with any remake, but I'm down to see it.
I bet that movie's so fetch.
I just can't believe it didn't come out on October 3rd.
Writer's strike.
Best line of that movie.
I know.
October 3rd, he asked me what
get
day
your
it was.
writers in order, Terry.
Yeah.
I'm not in charge of all writers.
Yes, you are.
Damn it. I wish I was. Well, pay us more then.
No.
Amazon, Benny.
No, earn more.
Benny,
I'm so glad I'm an impartial arguer of this.
Send a $10 billion check from Amazon to writers everywhere, and all strikes will be over. That's the agreement.
I'll march right into Jeff's office.
Yeah, just go into Jeff's office and start taking money. He's not going to notice.
He honestly probably wouldn't notice.
No, you just take a fraction here. Just a fraction of a cent
here, a fraction
of a penny.
Yeah.
Give
a micro deposit in, and then a big withdrawal, and every time it's like, wait, what?
Yeah. And then the new Mean Girls comes out on October 3rd, as it should.
Yeah, I've seen Office Space. I know how this works.
We're in the theaters, and she says on October 3rd, he asked me what day it was. It's October 3rd. And we all be like, oh my God, and it's October 3rd in real life. Look how fun.
The new one comes out January 12th, by the way. That's in 10 days.
10 days.
Same girls?
Oh my.
That's 6 days. No, it's like a remake, but Tina Fey's in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's 6 days after the Mean Girls Super 16 Championships.
That's right.
I hope that the gym team gets to go to a premiere while they're in Vegas. They have to.
Yeah, I wonder if Regina George will be there.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Should we end the episode?
Insert ad. Just kidding. For now. We'll explain it. We'll explain another time. Now is not the time.
What an incredible bit. Well, whether or not this episode has ads in it and offers for you to take advantage of, listener, we don't know. None of us know. That's what makes this fun. You'll have to listen to find out. And if you are listening, you have listened to find out, and you are welcome, or we are sorry. But next episode, for sure. This has been the 123rd episode of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast, the premiere of season 4 of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast.
Woo woo!
The premiere of recording in year of our Lord 2024. Happy New Year, Beaver fam.
2044.
Thank you for spending part of the first few days of your new year with us. As always, my name is Terry Horseman. You can find me at Terry Horseman on X, formerly known as Twitter, and at Terrence Horseman on Instagram.com. I am joined, as I always am, by my beloved co-hosts and partners in crime, starting with my dude in Tacoma, hitting the recruiting trail hard, Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Wehage, a.k.a. Penny with the good quaff, a.k.a. Penny Bowl Game if bowl games last much longer, a.k.a. Penny Bedlam because he's fucking crazy, folks, a.k.a. Benny Burner, a.k.a. Benny Blastoff, a.k.a. a bunch of other ones, too. You can find him on all of the social media channels at Benny L1986. Order his shit on Amazon, or I will come to your house and yell at you in front of your family.
DM me.
And also in Portland, on the ones and twos, the man steering the ship, it's JP Bertram. You can follow him on Twitter at the Trill J. That's at the _Trill _J, because he's too trill to be real. And on Instagram at JP Bertram. And you can follow the whole gosh dang production, Belligerent Beavs, the Belligerent Beavs Podcast at Bellig Beavs on X, formerly known as Twitter, Belligerent Beavs on Instagram, Belligerent Beavs on Facebook, Belligerent Beavs on Blue Sky, Belligerent Beavs on LimeWire Music, dropping new shows, and audio files that may or may not, but probably will crash your computer on LimeWire, Bear Share, and DC++.
They're safe.
Daily. They're
DC++.
Also on YouTube. Also, there's an OnlyFans reference in the show tonight, I believe. So we're on OnlyFans. We're also on Fans Only, which is a different thing.
Yeah, it's like farmers only,
but it's only for fans.
Fans
who are fans only of certain things. One of us for sure had a farmers only account at one time. One of us for sure had a Cougar Life account at one time. Two of us had an eHarmony account at one time. We're not on any of that shit anymore. Though maybe it's still active if you dig real deep, but probably not. And also on MySpace. And belligerentbeavs.com, belligerentbeavs.com/merch. We got new shit dropping kind of sort of soon, but kind of sort of new stuff already up there. Check out the merch. JP does an incredible job on it. And all of the proceeds help Oregon State's NIL Damnation Collective. We don't see a penny. We don't see a scrap. We don't see anything. It all goes to helping the Oregon State student athlete experience and making Oregon State the greatest place to play and cheer and watch college sports. No one's got it like us. Nobody. No one. None. I was about to hardball it because I saw him after the game last night. I was about to harbong it. This has been the 123rd episode of the show, episode 1 of the 4th season of the show. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Football season's over. Our numbers always do great during football season and then kind of go down a little bit. So let's keep them going during non-football season. Everyone listening to the show, please rate and review. Give us 5 stars. Like, give us 5 stars on Spotify right now. Give us 5 stars on Apple right now. You can't see me, but I'm like twirling my headphones cord in a real flirty, like cute fashion where I'm just like, come on, just like sign my yearbook and like tell me I'm cool and like go to prom with me and shit like that. 5 stars. Share the show with a friend. Just like and subscribe. Like it so much because we're like the greatest. And then we'll go see Mean Girls. And, you know, I have my mom's Corvette and we'll go joyriding afterwards. So yeah, this has been 123 episodes of the Belligerent Beavs, and we've got 123 more coming for you, but probably only about 50 more this year or so. We'll see what happens. Who knows what the year for? Happy New Year, Beaver fam!
Happy New Year!
We didn't even talk about New Year's
We're in
resolutions.
the future.
We'll do that next week. It'll be belated New Year's resolutions next week. Best of luck with all your New Year's resolutions. Hope this year makes all of your dreams come true. And no matter what, no matter who's in the transfer portal, no matter who's fucking with you, no matter who sucks on your Twitter feed, remember, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter what they try and take from us, they still can't spell chop 'em without hope. So chop 'em.
Chop 'em.
Chop 'em.
Insert ad.
Dollar bill, y'all.